Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's your boy Young Black. I just want to make a game talk video real quick. We got some real exciting announcement. We got a real exciting announcement this week that I wasn't really expecting. At least not really. It came kind of out of nowhere, and I knew there was gonna be a new Metal Gear game, new Metal Gear Solid, besides Rising. I knew about Ground Zeroes. I heard about Ground Zeroes. Hold on, let me do something real quick. I knew about Ground Zeroes. I heard about Ground Zeroes. Having a little shortness of breath there to use my asthma pump. Excuse me on that. But anyway, I knew there was going to be a new Metal Gear. As you guys know, I'm a Metal Gear fanatic. You know what I mean? I got the Metal Gear Rising Collector's Edition, or was it Limited? Whatever edition with the lamp, I got that. Uh, when I first heard about it, I thought it was going to be pretty cheap. The lamp is actually off the fucking chain. It's actually glass. I thought it was going to be plastic and feel cheap. It feels like it's worth it for $150, and the box art is incredible. The art on the lamps box is incredible. The music CD is pretty good, and the steel case is awesome. All that stuff is good, right? So I was satisfied with that. I had to buy it just because I'm a Metal Gear Solid fan, fanatic, whatever you want to call it, and so I had to have that, right? So I'm excited still about Metal Gear Rising. I haven't even gotten over that, how cool Metal Gear Rising is. And then what was it, Tuesday? Which was it Tuesday or Wednesday? I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday, one of those days. Whenever the 27th was, I believe. They announced Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. I'm like, what? I woke up, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm always on my game shit at all times. I mean, I'll get up, brush my teeth, wash my face, up in the shower, all that shit. You know what I mean? Eat, and then I'm right back on the internet to see what's new what's happening right now in the industry, just to see what's going on. And when I seen Metal Gear Solid 5, I thought it was a joke because I know April Fool's is coming up. So I'm like, really? I'm like, Metal Gear Solid 5, where is this gonna be? And then when I looked at it, Kojima and Konami are fucking tricky fuckers, yo. They try to sneak some, they gotta be creative even when they announce a game. I mean, it's bad enough. I mean, it's awesome enough that Metal Gear as a series is one of the most creative and dynamic games out there right now in general. Probably one of the most creative and dynamic games of all time. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, when they release a game, they make you have to think just to figure out what they're releasing sometimes. Well, this is the first time I ever seen this with Konami or Kojima, but I just thought it was real creative and interesting how they decided to introduce the game to us slowly and then finally tell us exactly what the product was. First they announced, or they showed us a trailer for what we thought was a game called The Phantom Pain, right? And that was made by Konami. I didn't know if it was made by Kojima Studios or not, or if it said that in the trailer that we seen, but I knew it was made by Konami. And I knew it used the Fox engine, but I didn't think it was a Metal Gear game. Okay, I didn't know that. And then they had another video for a game that was actually called Metal Gear, which was called Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes. And I was like, oh man, new Metal Gear. It's going to be awesome. I didn't do too much research on it immediately because I figured it wouldn't be too much information out there, but I went back and did a little research, found out that it's an open world game. They finally streamlined the controls, it seems like. It seems like in all the other Metal Gear games, as we know, one of the biggest crutches of the games and obstacles of the games is the gameplay. I mean, it plays in a way that is unrelenting. It doesn't apologize for being what it is. It's Metal Gear. It plays a certain way. It expects you to use the techniques and the game aspects that they give you to control Snake, so that you feel his situation, his force, his feeling of overwhelmness, of being outnumbered, one man against an army of soldiers. You feel it through the combat when you aim into certain things that he does. The controls are limited. And Ground Zeroes, it feels like, or looks like anyway, that the controls are going to be a lot more streamlined so that everybody can play. So you don't have to worry about so much as knocking on walls and all that type of stuff. You probably still can do all that classic Metal Gear Solid stuff, but it seems like it could be less necessary. It seems like the game's going to be more approachable and more universal to how you can approach it. I mean, they showed a part where they said the game is open world now, so you can basically pull a Far Cry and just jump in a vehicle and drive to another area which I thought, okay, that's cool. You can see Snakey's driving. You can just jump in any kind of car or a tank, whatever's around. You can just jump in and use it as a weapon now, and incorporate into your battle strategy to infiltrating a base or maybe attacking a target or attacking a base. I thought that was cool. Metal Gear has been needing that type of innovation for a while because the gameplay has been very unrelenting and very streamlined and limited in what you can do in the Metal Gear Solid games. But the story and the aesthetics of the game is what carries the product, which carries the Metal Gear license over to us as gamers. We love that, For real Metal Gear fans, that's what we look for when we buy Metal Gear. We're not like, oh, what can Snake do now? Can he do a magical cartwheel off? No, it's not that. You want to know what the story is immediately. Immediately, you want to know what the game is about, where it takes place, what characters are in it. That's the main draw to a game, and that's when you know you're playing something that's epic. Because when you're buying a game and you're not looking at what features the character can do, like what type of gameplay elements is in it, and the first thing you think about is the story, that lets you know from a mental standpoint that this product is gonna, it's gonna affect you because they're not going from something that's just aesthetically pleasing, like God of War, ripping off somebody's head. That's cool. It feels good after like you do it 1,000 times, but I mean, after you get past all the gory violence and the contextual type stuff in the game, what's left? If the story's not good, you just got a violence simulator, But God of War is good for that. God of War does what it does incredibly well, and Metal Gear does something incredibly well also. Metal Gear has awesome, gruesome violence in it too, but from a more storytelling aspect, like you understanding why these things are happening. And sometimes Kratos is just killing shit, and he doesn't have to have too much meaning behind it. He's killing shit because he's Kratos. That's enough of a fucking reason, But that's why we play God of War. When you want that type of a game, that's what you play. But I was really impressed with Metal Gear Solid 5, man, and they fooled the hell out of me. I was like, I knew about the Phantom Pain. I heard people saying that if you look real carefully at the text on the way they put the font on the Phantom Pain, that it was an anagram, and if you look on top of the word the Phantom Pain, the words Metal Gear Solid 5 actually fit into the anagram. I thought, maybe some people they just jump to conclusions and say, oh, look, it's Metal Gear Solid 5 and they're trying to trick us, haha. I'm like, okay, well, maybe you might be right. You might not be right. I just didn't want to jump to conclusions. I didn't know, but it turns out whoever figured that out is a smart motherfucker, man. I can't even doubt, because I'm like, wow, he was right. Because when they showed the trailer for Metal Gear Solid 5 at the end, it says the Phantom Pain, and it actually shows the word coming and fill in the anagram. And it does fit right there on top perfectly, Metal Gear Solid 5. And I'm like, wow. Whoever figured that out is real smart. There's some real ingenious people out there in gaming, To figure that out like that, to me, you got to be pretty damn smart. Because I didn't see it, and I'm not a dumb person at all. So I'm like, wow. Whoever figured that out is really dedicated and loves Metal Gear. And I respect that he figured that out like that, because I didn't even figure it out. But a couple aspects of the game that I liked. I watched most of the GDC conference. It was an hour and like a half long. I didn't watch the whole entire thing because I had stuff to do and it was late at night. So I watched like maybe the first 45 minutes to an hour, the trailer. I seen Hideo come on stage and talk about the game, all that good shit. But I was amazed with the graphics. Now, if I don't got a million fans out there, a million viewers. I know it doesn't matter to me. You heard me say this a million times. But if you guys out there that have actually watched my videos, and I've talked about the next gen of gaming, and I said one of the main things I want in the next generation of gaming, even though it's not a big aspect, it's more aesthetic than anything. I wanted photorealism, man. I said I want to see characters that look like me and you. I want to see characters that feel like they're alive and not look like claymation characters with no soul in their eyes. You know what I mean? And I gotta admit, when I seen the trailer for Metal Gear Solid 5, I was fucking amazed. These characters feel like they live down the block, like they're real people. They have soul in their eyes, the way they move, their mannerisms. It looks incredible. Hideo said the game was actually running off PC at GDC, which is actually a good sign because that means that basically the next gen versions of the game, like the PS4 and the Xbox 720, boo, but the PS4 and the Xbox 720 are probably going to run that version of the game. That's probably the version that we're going to get. The one that he showed and how crazy it looks graphically is the version we're going to get if we buy PS4 or Xbox 720. And the reason why I figured that is because they said that the PS4 is basically a supercharged PC anyway. You know what I mean? So they use a lot of PC components in it this time instead of making their own chips and graphical engines and all that crazy shit. They went with something easier to work with. So I'm figuring if that's how it looks on the PC, that's how it's gonna look on the PS4 also. You know, so but it did say at the bottom coming out for Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. It didn't say nothing about PS4, but I mean you got to figure PS4 is supposed to come out this year. I'm hoping Metal Gear Solid 5 also comes out this year, and it's a launch title. If Metal Gear Solid 5 is a launch title for the PS4, Sony has won, if you ask me. It'll be the first time in the history of PlayStation that I know about, that I mean it is, that there's been a Metal Gear Solid as a launch title. And it will most definitely sell consoles. I mean, we already got a Halo 4 from Xbox, so they can't make a Halo 6 right behind it for the new Xbox this year. So I don't know what they would use as a launch title, but Sony has their system seller, basically. If this game comes out as a launch game, no doubt I will be crushing cans and everything in my fucking power to make sure I have a PS4 in this game on day one. At least the system in this one game on day one. I don't give a fuck about no other game. So if they do this correctly, it's going to be a swarm. I'm telling you now, there's a waiting list for the PS4. I advise you guys either to be on it or check in every other day or twice a week or every other week to see when pre-orders actually start on the system, because when it starts, they're going to go quick. I know they are, okay, because it just seems like this is all falling into place where Metal Gear Solid 5 is going to be a launch title on the PS4 from the way it looks. The game looks like it's pretty much done. I mean, graphics-wise, they showed a little bit of gameplay. They didn't have any much action in the gameplay. It was more of a set-piece part of the game that actually introduces you into small bits and pieces of what the controls are like and setting up the story. I was so amazed with the dynamic look of the characters. Like, and normally I played Peace Walker, and that was the first one I played with Big Boss in it. And when I played Peace Walker, it doesn't have those crazy over-the-top characters like Vamp and Fortune, and you know, those characters, Psycho Mantis, the Sorrow, where their abilities are far over the top, where you're fighting ghosts and shit like that. That you know, you have to have some type of imagination. The Peace Walker story was pretty streamlined. There was a cause and effect, and you know, everything kind of made sense. It wasn't nothing that needed to be explained too much, except for you know the characters within the storyline. That was basically it. It wasn't like they had a guy who could be shot in the head and come back to life, and nobody know how that happened. You know, and then they wait until all the way to Metal Gear Solid 4 to tell us that. It wasn't that type of shit. But in the new trailer for Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, we got crazy shit happening. I mean, we got fucking fire whales jumping and eating helicopters, fucking guys. We got a chick who is standing in the hallway and she levitates and goes through a ceiling. I mean, just crazy shit. You know, and then a guy comes up in an elevator and he's like a fire. He looks like he's a fire elemental, and he just sets the whole hall on fire. Walks up the Snake and this guy Ishmael, and just disappears into nowhere. They're getting back into that crazy dynamic fucking character design aspect, and I'm loving it right now. I can't wait to see the craziness that's going to happen in this game. I mean, and the way the way they showed how it starts was like, oh man, where does it go from here? A couple other aspects of the game that Hideo talked about was you actually get to explore Mother Base from the internals, from the inside. You can customize the base to your liking and put different things up, probably like banners and things like that. But Mother Base is customizable this time. But they also showed, during the trailer, they also showed Mother Base blowing up and being destroyed. And then Snake going to a new group called Diamond Dogs, which I don't know nothing about, which is also very interesting. Also, they show Snake handless. He has a prosthetic where he's lost one of his hands. And he gets a hand that's red, like a cybernetic hand, which he probably had R&D make for him, something like that, which is research and development on Mother Base, if you guys ain't really Peace Walker heads like that. And he gets a mechanical hand. And it looks like the same kind of hand that that guy from Peace Walker had. I forgot what his name was. He's the guy that introduces you to, who brings Paz into the story, right, for the first time. And he has a hand kind of similar to that. I didn't even know Big Boss ever lost a hand, so I don't even know where that came from. But I just can't wait to figure it out by playing this game when they explain everything to you. Aesthetically, the game is beautiful. Photorealism is amazing. I mean, this game looks like a movie. It looks like real people. I mean, it's undistinguishable. There's actually a part in the GDC showing where they do something to fuck with your head, and it fucked with my head because I'm looking like, damn, I can't tell the difference. They actually rendered the Konami conference room, the real conference room, right? Using the Fox engine, the chairs, the pictures on the wall, everything down to the picture, everything was rendered in the Fox engine, and they put it side by side with an actual photo of the real room and then the room rendered in the Fox engine created inside the game, inside the Fox engine that's used in the Metal Gear Solid 5 game, and you could barely tell the difference. I mean, certain little lighting deficiencies, little things gave it away. I mean, I could tell. I mean, I said, okay, that's the game, and I said, this is the photo, and I was right. But I mean, it looked so close to each other. I was amazed. I'm like, wow, we're here. We're actually here. Hideo has finally done something I always wanted to see in video games. He's brought soul to the characters, not just in story and gameplay mechanics. He's brought soul to the characters visually. They look like real people. When you look these characters in the eyes, they have a soul. It looks like they're alive for real. So that helps you get more emotionally attached to the characters because they actually look like real people. So I was like, I can't wait to see how this is going to play out. I mean, other games I've tried this too, Heavy Rain, Tomb Raider, which I'm gonna do a review for that too in a minute probably. Also does facial animations and body animations very fucking well, which I was very surprised about. So Metal Gear Solid 5, the Phantom Pain, man, can you believe this shit? I mean, it just looks amazing. I mean, open world Metal Gears, that right there alone is gonna blow people away. That no more loading screens, probably. Who knows? But I mean, it seems like no more loading screens. They're gonna give you a big map, and Snake is gonna be able to maneuver through the map. One of his modes of transportation, besides using enemy vehicles and planes and stuff like that, helicopters, he can actually throw a smoke grenade, right? And a helicopter in live time will actually come and land, and you can get in the helicopter, and it will transfer you somewhere, right? And when I'm watching all this stuff, it looks like it would be a movie sequence, but it's all in game, he says. When he said that, I was like, get the F out of here. This is all in game. It looks amazing. It looks fantastic. It looks over the top. And I was like, this has to be the next gen version he's showing us right now because the way it looks. This could not be the PS3 or the Xbox 360 doing this, right? And he said it's the PC version, so I can't wait to just get my hands on this thing or to get even a demo, something. You know what I mean? I will be most definitely getting the collector's edition of this game when it comes out. I don't care if they want $350 for it. I will be buying it. It's Metal Gear. I have to have it. And I just got a couple of Metal Gear things. I just felt like showing you guys because, Metal Gear, a new Metal Gear has been announced. That's pretty cool. And, I got a couple of Metal Gear art books and things of that sort. This is the HD collection art book. They have a lot of cool art. I think that's Raiden. Yeah, that's Raiden. And what else do we have here? Oh, this is a couple members of Dead Cell. Yeah, these are pictures we all seen before, but they put it in a really nice hardcover art book that came with the Metal Gear Solid HD collection, limited edition. Oh, there you go, Metal Gear, right? Limited edition, which was I think the game by itself was $40 when it came out, but if you wanted the limited edition, it was $60. But if you go on Amazon right now, they're selling the limited edition of the HD collection for $200 right now. Okay, so it was worth the extra money. If you didn't get it, you missed out. You're gonna have to pay a lot more for it now to get it if you want it. The art book alone is worth because it's a hardcover art book, which they don't give that out too often when it comes to video games, unless you're gonna pay for the hardcover. For the price that they were doing for the limited edition compared to the other game was only like $20, and it's worth it just for the extra graphical stuff that they gave. The physical stuff, the art book, the collector's edition case, which is really cool. Most of this art a lot of people have seen before, but they just never put it together in an art book that we in America could get. This is actually one of the covers for Metal Gear Solid 2 in another country, I believe. Seen a lot of this art before, but just the fact they never put it together like this for us before. You know, it feels very Japanese, and it feels very rare and special. You know, so that's that one. I'm gonna show you which one do I show you next? All right, this is the Peace Walker one. Now, even though this is not a hardcover, it's a paper kind of cardboardy type cover. I still love this book because the aesthetics of it is like wow. Like the way it looks is like wow. It has like a first of all, it has like on one side, even though it's paper, it has like a real cool, you know, telling of what Peace Walker is on this side, and then has like a cool picture of Snake's body when he's holding the I think that's the Hush puppy, you know, and has a real cool picture of an older version of Big Boss, and the paper right here is like some type of carbon paper where it's actually see-through. You know, I thought that was pretty cool. You know, something little, but it's still pretty awesome, right? And you got the picture of Big Boss. So let me make sure you guys can see that a little bit. Right, you got the picture of a little bit older version of Big Boss. No gray yet, but he's getting there. Now, I had these books, well, spec, for a long time. There you go. That's Snake, soon to be called Big Boss. You know, they also have little, like, you know, dynamic pictures over here with quotes from the game that were impactful in the story. Different Snake in his different costumes you can unlock in the game that have different features. Kazurai Miller, who's also in the in Metal Gear Solid, the Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. They showed him with Snake in the hospital at the beginning. You know, well, I'm not gonna get too much into this book because there's a lot of characters in it people won't know. It also came with this fold out, which actually is inside the book. It's not a poster. It doesn't actually come out of the book, but I took the staples and pulled them up and took this out, and I pushed the staples back down so I can get this out the book. You know, it actually has, which I found a little weird, it has pages from a comic where you fold it out a little more. It actually turns into a little comic, like 2 pages, and then the back side is just a map with the Peace Walker. Peace Walker, for some reason, it uses a butterfly to represent peace. You know, that was what the butterfly represented. And then it has a character poster or a fold out, as you would call it, with all of the main characters from the story. You know, which was really cool. You know, Metal Gear Solid collections in general, most of the time, when you're getting limited editions or something, they're worth it. At least to me, they are anyway. I mean, it feels like they don't skip out on them, and these games don't come out so often that it's like they're trying to milk you for money. You know it's going to be something special because they only make like one of these every fucking 2 years, every 3 years. You get a new Metal Gear. This is the book they gave us with Peace Walker, which actually didn't come with the game. You had to pre-order the game on day one and actually receive the book from GameStop. If you didn't ask for one, you probably wouldn't get one, knowing GameStop. But I knew what I was going there for initially, so I actually got 2 of these books because one of the guys at GameStop I'm pretty cool with. I shop at the same GameStop a lot, even though I hate GameStop. But you know, some of the people they aren't so bad, some of them, and he actually gave me 2 art books. So this is the one I usually display, and I got one put away. You know, riding in Wolf on a motorcycle. It's pretty sick. This is actually the picture that's on the box that comes with the limited edition of Metal Gear Solid Rising. When you get the lamp, this is actually the picture that's on the box on the lamp. It's a black box with this picture in white instead of black like this one. So it's kind of reversed. A little more. I forgot the guy's name who does the art. Yuji Shikakawa, something like that is his name. He does all the art for all the Metal Gear games, and it's always amazing. And Metal Gear Solid has some of the best art books and best concept art, and I haven't seen any video game. I mean, most people, they don't put this much work into their concept art. I mean, the concept art looks like it could be made into an anime movie. I mean, but it's actually a video game, but it could easily be used to translate this content into an anime. You know, really cool book. Didn't pay nothing for it. I got the game for $60. They gave you this book for free. That's kind of hard to see when I looked. I was like, what is that? It's actually Rodden's sword, and then, oh shit, and then the little sword that's actually in the sheath too when he uses the high frequency blade. And then they gave you like it's like a bunch of little pictures. It's my man Monsoon right there at the top. Monsoon. It's my favorite boss in Metal Gear Rising. There's a little picture. I'll show you that one too. Why not? It's a real cool picture of him riding. They got a lot of Japanese characters in there too, which I don't know what the hell they mean. It'd be nice if they would have told us, put like a little words in there, tastefully. And then I also, because I ordered the Rising Limited or Collector's Edition, whatever it is, with the lamp. I also ordered the Rising Collector's Edition Strategy Guide, which I was shocked to say is pretty freaking good. It has an art section in it also. It comes with a limited edition lithograph, which I probably showed you guys this before. You know, and they are numbered. You know, so they are actually limited, and there's not an infinite amount of them floating around. There's a couple thousand of them probably floating around, but it is actually limited. The book actually does tell you how to do dynamic stuff in Rising, like how to get perfect S ranks on stages and stuff like that to unlock some of the unlockable stuff, the secrets in the game. And it has a whole dynamic art section, which I'm going to try and show to you guys right now. Let's see. I know it's in here. Where is the art? Give us the art. Cast gallery. Here we go. Oh, dropped my lithograph. It's alright though. Lend it safely. You know, it actually shows you with the cyborg enemies what their parts on their bodies actually are for and what they do. Which to me it adds more depth to the game, because you want to, when you see in the character, you see these little aesthetic things like they got a visor down, or like extra pads on his leg, or something connected into his neck, and you don't know what none of that stuff does. When you buy the book, the strategy guide, or this particular one in general, it tells you. You know, it actually tells you that these guys have stuff that locks together to make the muscle memory suit stay in position. Uh, uh, Facial protector that's blade proof with a tactical visor built in, which Raiden actually has too. It's basically the thing that comes down and gives you that VR mode. You know, and here's a concept for Wolf. Some art for him. You know, and they give you some dynamic descriptions on the character that you would have never got in the game without buying the book. It's one for Minstrel. And they made her look really hot. Even though I didn't like her as a character really too much. She didn't seem complex enough for a Metal Gear Solid boss character. You know, not really, but she was still cool and dynamic enough that she was passable. You know, but in the book you actually realize how hot she actually is. My girl actually had this haircut a long time ago. Well, like last year sometime, but her mohawk wasn't that long, and it was a mohawk and not just a cutoff on one side. The man himself, Monsoon. This is just one of the most creative characters I ever seen in the game, man. When they make a game where one of the main things in the game is that you can slice people up with a sword in basically any way you want, and that's the main killing aspect of the character, the combat aspect of the game. And then they give you a boss who can magnetically take his body apart, and he can dodge the sword attacks. So you're trying to slice him, and his body is like dodging the sword. He's not actually moving, but his body's coming apart to let the sword go through and then coming back together. Fucking awesome character. It's just something so creative. I was like, wow, that is awesomely creative. And then you got Jetstream Sam, you know, who is like the you know, he's Raiden's rival protagonist character in the game. You know, and he seems like he has a deeper meaning. He's very samurai. You know, as you could tell, he fights like Raiden. Raiden's suit is more like a ninja type of a suit, and Sam's suit is more like samurai. And you could tell by how his legs, they puff out at the bottom by his thighs. That's kind of like a samurai's kimono type of style look. And the shoulder pad. Then we got Sundowner here, who was actually the commander of Desperado. It's pretty fucking awesome. And who else they got in here? Oh, and what's that? Armstrong, the senator, who was a little goofy. I mean, I didn't expect him to be a boss at the end, but I mean, it fit into the criteria of Metal Gear to have somebody steeped into so much political intrigue, to have so much invested in what was happening behind this story, because that's what Metal Gear normally is. It's always like a government trying to do some crazy shit, and there's always like this one guy who put it into action and is working things from behind the scene. It was nice to actually get to fight that guy, and not for you to fight a bunch of bosses within the game, and then they explain to you this guy was actually responsible. You actually get to fight the guy that's responsible in Rising. Um, Metal Gear Solid, guys. I thought we were going to get 2 games at first when I heard Metal Gear Solid 5 was coming out. I was like, oh, it's going to be a Ground Zeroes and a Metal Gear Solid 5? No. Come to find out, they're the same game. Okay? Metal Gear Solid 5, Phantom Pain, they're the same game. So we're getting 1 game, and I'm hoping, pray to God, everybody, let's hit the Konami fan board and everything, and let them know that please let this be out for PS4 on day 1 as a launch title. We want it. We need it right now. Real gamers stand up. I'm feeling alright right now. I'm kind of tired, but I might do a review for Tomb Raider in a minute. So I'm kind of feeling that because I've been playing the hell out of Tomb Raider, and I got some real good stuff to say about that too. But real gamers stand up. I'll see you guys soon, man. Oops.